Thank you. Not sure if it's going to be a competition between the 4 breakaway rooms to see who's got the most participants.
I see there's still about 30 odd unassigned participants, so
okay, so we've got a chance.
Just give it some time, yeah.
I think while we wait for the other participants to join, I'm going to start sharing my screen, and just to make sure that everybody can see it.
We see your screen.
Okay, so Maya, if you could. Okay, great, thank you. Okay. Just stop sharing quickly. Just want to share it in a different way. Right, so Maya, you can see the first page of the presentation.
Yes, I see the first slide.
Good. All right. I think that was enough time. I think if there's others that join us later, that's fine. Let's start. I think my role today is to represent a couple of companies, just to present you the Work Package 2.1 project, which was on foundational supervisory leadership development. And the CSIR was the project sponsor and the project lead for this project, for this work package as well. Ourselves, Nico de Kok from Louis Allen, we are the content provider and was part of sharing some of our experience over the last 20+ years in mining and supervisory development and leadership development. And then we work with Win-Win International as not just the technology partner, but also as a content provider, to help us to digitize the content and to bring in all the blended learning methodologies, etc., that I will explain later. But part of our project, we had to do a pilot and ensure that it would be applicable, the learning for gold and platinum, and for the mining and the modernization that we're bringing in, that it would be applicable. So we've partnered with Sibanye-Stillwater, that was gracious enough to be our industry partner for this project. So you'll see as we go through the visuals and some of the slides and things that I will share, that to showcase the customizability, how to customize the offerings. We've customized it for Sibanye to pilot it in their case, but that can be customized for any mine or any type of environment. we're trying to highlight how the content can be customized specific environment, client, or in this case, an industry. So I've got a couple of slides that I want to share. There's also 2 videos one that I'm going to talk through as part of it, and I'm going to try and keep my time as short as possible so that there's still time for discussions afterwards. So I want to start with this overview video. Sorry, I forgot to tick the share sound when I shared my screen. I always do that.
There is across the mining world, there is one resource more precious than any other. It's rare to extract and takes time to critically refine, but without it, there'd be no future to mining. Leadership. Programs for leadership and supervisory development are stuck in a classroom and in hard copy learning. Despite the sophisticated content of these programs, the medium they are learned through is steadily losing its relevance. A looming crisis in how leaders are made is now apparent, and many organizations are acting to this. In order to upskill supervisors, change mindsets, and drive and lead mining modernization, the SAMERDI Successful Application of Technologies Centered Around People, or SATCAP program, has committed to research the most effective mediums to this end. Blending classroom learning with a digital platform was acutely seen to be the most radically effective change for gold and platinum mines. It is now a crucial objective to adapt high-quality training material to the most effective means for learners to grasp. The SATCAP Work Package 2.1 research aimed to deliver content used by mines across the industry in an effective and expedient leadership training program. The Mandela Mining Precinct, along with the CSIR, identified the Louis Allen Foundational Supervisory Leadership Development Program for its well-respected and wide usage across gold and platinum mines and other clients. The Louis Allen program was classroom-based and did not have a blended or self-paced learning methodology. It also lacks digital content and digital learning platforms. Win-Win International was commissioned by the Mandela Mining Precinct to partner with Louis Allen to develop a new solution that would offer digitally enhanced and immersive content, customizable for individual needs and environments, accessible anywhere and at any time. The solution is compatible with traditional methods, allowing for integration with classroom-based training. A pilot program was performed at Sibanye-Stillwater, which included training for a number of leadership roles. The purpose of the training was to understand the challenges, effects, and impact of implementing a digitally advanced blended learning approach aimed at reskilling and upskilling supervisors. Some high-level observations from the Work Package 2.1 research report include: 1. Blended learning shows clear advantages for supervisory leadership development over traditional means. 2. The new technologies and learning methodologies offer various new opportunities to round out leaders' skills. 3. Mines have infrastructure differences, and so Wi-Fi and other infrastructure needs for digital training will need the specific mine's consideration. The current infrastructure and equipment available at mines need to be reconsidered and re-evaluated in order to provide effective digital training. This includes software and hardware such as computers and Wi-Fi. 4. Digital learning tools enhance the classroom by providing self-paced learning, which improves the speed in which the training takes place, saving both the mine and supervisor's time spent in the classroom. And 5. There is a learning curve in technological literacy which needs to be adjusted for in the initial learning. Based on the outcomes of the pilot, we've observed that mines are at different places on their mining modernization journey. They are not expected to completely switch or plug into digital training. Their needs and specific contexts will dictate how they transition to modern training. A phased-in approach may suit transitioning mines in their ongoing supervisory leadership development.
The content, it's good. If they use a process like this where they can actually see video footage and so on and so forth, they can understand the process better.
It was intriguing, it was something new.
And it's going to make a difference on your productivity and your safety as such.
Truly prudent, affordable, and effective learning clearly isn't about radically digitizing everything, nor is it about staying purely in classroom learning. It's about what works in each context. Blended learning is the next crucial step in developing consistently great leaders and supervisors. It's about the art of the possible.
All right, so I think just to recap, some of the things have been done already or spoken about, but I think it's important for today's discussion to highlight some of the key aspects. Where we started off this project, we had to look at the current realities when it comes to training. And one of the key things were that we know that supervisors as the frontline leaders in organization are the crucial link between management force and assisting in translating the strategies and the plans into actions. They play a very crucial role, specifically in mining modernization. Going forward, this is going to be key because a lot of the plans and strategies of where mines need to go are planning to go already. If the workforce is not capacitated to drive that process, it's going to become one of the key challenges, or ultimately a stumbling block even, if they do not capacitate specifically supervisors to drive this change. And that's a key focus of what we've built into this offering. Now, from a Louis Allen perspective, one of the key aspects that we always focus on, and another reason why supervisory development is so important, is because we have this tendency to take technical experts and promote them into frontline leadership positions. And because people don't have the necessary skills to manage their people, their sections effectively, they tend to focus on the wrong kind of work. They spend time on the wrong type of work or activities. So how do you not just try to modernize and bring the training in line, but how do you make sure that you focus on the right aspects so that we capacitate our supervisors? We've also know that most of the training, specifically supervisory training, still is mainly classroom-based. The material still mainly printed materials. And like Wessel also mentioned in the discussion around Work Package 3, that it is not about throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It is not that we did the pilot program where we did the traditional classroom training on the one side, and we did another room with the digital self-paced learning solution. And you will see the outcomes of the pilot basically stated that it's not either or, it is a combination of both. And that's why we promote a blended learning approach, because there's still aspects of the classroom and the training material that is important, but it's how you present it to improve the learners and not just the experience, but also the impact through the learning. So the Frontline Louis Allen program, before we started with this process, there were 6 stages within the development journey of our approach that we normally did in the traditional classroom-based setup. And it totaled roughly about 7 contact days over a period of about 6 months for majority of programs. Now, the current reality is that with mining being modernized, with technology coming in, and we need to move much quicker in this transition. And that's where this project ultimately started. The idea was to say, our aim was to exhibit to the industry an exemplar foundational supervisory leadership program that would be applicable for mining modernization in gold and platinum specifically, but not exclusively. But our focus was to make sure that it will be focused on gold and platinum, using digital blended learning methodologies, and look at a platform. But you will also see that later on, although it's positioned to be placed on a digital platform, the platform is not necessarily prescribed. The mine can decide on what digital platform they can put it, if they've got their own or a specific preference. The one that we're going to focus on, because it was developed with Win-Win, is that it would be on their iWin platform, but it's not exclusively required. But it's how do you bring in all of the different blended learning methodologies on a digital platform to enhance the learning. And our three main steps that we went through is to first find, identify foundational supervisory modules or program. And Louis Allen's got more than 60 years international experience. In South Africa, more than 50 in mining. Personally been involved with Louis Allen Southern Africa over the last 20 plus years within mining as well. And we took all of that experience from a content perspective, specifically for foundational supervisory level frontline leadership development. And then we said, all right, but how does this match up with mining modernization requirements, the latest blended learning? And that's where we then decided to look at certain components and how do you digitize? How do you enhance this current offering, the content? How do you add content because of the need for mining modernization, understanding the need? Sumaya mentioned change principles that we had to build in to highlight the focus of the supervisor's role of driving the change for mining modernization. And we've hoped that we've built this into that. And that's part of today is for everybody to experience it. And going forward over the next couple of weeks to experience it, evaluate it, give input and see how we can further refine this. This is a work in progress. We're highlighting our first steps. So looking at the program itself, the Louis Allen Foundational Supervisory Leadership Program, we basically got two purposes for this program. The first one is to make sure that the content and the delivery methodology that we've built in will capacitate frontline supervisors with the necessary foundational concepts, principles, techniques to be able to manage their sections more effectively within a constant changing environment, which includes this whole drive towards modernization. But secondly, also to provide an enhanced learning experience for supervisors that will save time, not just for them, but also for the company, and create real impact within their areas of responsibilities, but also for the organization again, within their new role as drivers for change. The learning objectives of the program is they need to understand and be able to apply. It's built still around the Louis Allen system management system. So that systems approach to planning, organizing, leading, controlling, the activities they need to be focused on and how to do that effectively to manage their sections. That is still at the core of the content and the heart. What we've done is we've added around this to enhance it, added more content to make it more from an individual learning perspective, but also the impact and the requirement within a mining modernization. And we'll look at a little bit of the content later as well. But because of one of the key aspects still is problem solving, solution development, and action planning for supervisors, a critical skill and a need. And it's also critical thinking, problem solving, all of that is still of, according to World Economic Forum, you know, all of the critical for the future. But for supervisors specifically in mining, we find that this is a critical issue, where it's not just about escalating stuff, knowing when to escalate, when to do things themselves, how to gather information based on evidence and come up, what is the root cause, develop a solution, and then an action plan, and drive it themselves, take accountability for their own areas. Ultimately, we want the supervisors to become more effective so that they can get better results. And that's the Louis Allen tagline as well. Better management leaders equal better results. So just an overview of the program. There's going to be 7 modules ultimately in the program. What we've done so far is to exhibit and showcase to the industry. We've developed the first 3 modules already. The first 2 modules will be made available to the industry for free on this link that you will ultimately see later today on the Artemis platform from the CSIR and the mining precinct. So it's going to give you some idea to explore, play with it, see how it works, but it will also give you an idea of what and how it can be customized for your organization, for the industry further. So the 7 modules, we start off with understanding the supervisor's role within mining modernization. We start with the building block of concept of leadership, their role within the team, the importance of self-awareness and effective leadership within mining modernization, why, the case for change, how to be a driver for change. Module 2 is the Allen management system, why a systems approach, and the whole Allen management system is explained. And then we go into the detail in module 3, 4, 5, and 6, where we look at the 4 management functions in a lot more detail at each of the activities. And then the 7th module, we focus specifically on problem solving, solution development, and action planning. Now, the program is going to be within a blended learning process, methodology, on a platform which will ultimately promote continuous learning. So it's not that you do the 7 modules and that's it, but I'll come back to that later. There were some specific questions they asked us to answer within the presentations. One of them's got to do with prior learning assumed to be in place. So because this program for supervisors is based on the accredited Louis Allen NQF Level 4 program, the requirement is that they need to have grade 12 or equivalent. They must already be on a supervisory team leader type of level, or at least earmarked for a supervisory position. And then we require some basic understanding of digital literacy, using technologies, tablets, earphones, computers. But we've tried to make it also as simple as possible. Some of the points that came out of the pilot, we've already built in that learning into the changes that we made. Potential alignment. It is not currently the program as it is here on this platform is not aligned. It's built from an accredited program linked to 6 unit standards, NQF level 4, linked to 46 credits. To be able to link it back to that means that the portfolio of evidence will just be beefed up and the process will maybe include some more activities. But it is not accredited as it is, but it can be accredited quite easily. The duration is, you'll see that we're going to present 2 options. The one that we were tasked to create by the SATCAP project was a self-paced learning program. And we look at about 5 months in total for that process, where if you use a blended approach, it might take about a month longer, but I'll show you the details later. Now, just from a methodology perspective, I just want to highlight quickly that we're using in this digital platform a variety of different methods, from self-assessments to self-reflective exercises where they need to reflect on where they think they are currently. We use quotes, photos, videos. There's interactive activities where they need to click and drag and drop and answer things. We've got branching scenarios that we've created within a situation, and the participant needs to make choices, and depending on the choice that they make, it will lead them on a different path, tell them what the outcomes would be, ultimately positive or negative, depending on their choices. We've used knowledge quizzes right through each section. There's 3 to 4 to 5 questions where they need to quiz themselves in terms of the knowledge. We've customized characters, scenarios, examples, and I'll spend a little bit more time in the walkthrough video on this, but ultimately there's characters, there's voiceovers, etc., that have been created to make it easier for participants to understand the environment, to align with the person, etc., and their story. We also customized, as I said, because we work with Sibanye, we asked them specifically to say, but how do you bring in the learning their values, their strategies, their objectives, what they're trying to achieve, the aspects that they want to highlight. So the platform is easy to cover that perspective, to align to a specific company's needs as well. Gamification and result scores, points, medals, you can build in a variety of different things. We've just used a simple scoring at the moment, but it can be customized for a variety of different ways to do it. And ultimately, because of a blended approach that we want, is we've seen that there's still contact with the facilitator that is important. It can be through classroom. All of these digitized solutions can also be used within the classroom in a solution as well. But the facilitator, even if you do the self-paced, there's still a need for contact with the coach, facilitator via the digital platform, etc. So that's from all the learning and the aspects that we highlighted that we wanted to include. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a walkthrough video because it takes some time to type everything. So all we've done is we've recorded a couple of the aspects through the first 3 modules. I'm not going to show everything because it's about 20 minutes, this little walkthrough video, but I want to share with you some aspects so that you can get a sense of what the program will actually look like. So we start off where you either click on the link that was shared with you to enter into this workshop through the Artemis portal. There's a link to go to the content, or you have to type it in if you get it. So let's play the video while I will talk it through, and it will take you to the landing page of the program on RISE. And then you will, if you scroll down, you will see the structure, the layout, the outline of the different modules, etc. Then once you click on start, it will take you into the first step of it. On the left, you'll see the structure. And then there's the pilot overview that I've shared with you earlier is there. This is now specifically for the Artemis, not ultimately for the program, but it was important for us that people understand the technology. Continue. It will take you to another video, which is about how to navigate through the course. So it starts off, and I think the part that's recorded here just speaks to the actual program, but later on in the video, it will then actually show you all the icons, and if you click here, what happens here, and how do you navigate through, similar to what's on the screen there now of the tablet, how to navigate through each one of the sections, how to answer, how to submit, and do everything. So all of that is in this video, and this will also be shared on that Artemis with a link. After that video, one of the prerequisites is also a self-assessment. So this is a need for development assessment, where the person needs to assess their own need for development. Do I need something? It's all linked to the content of the program. And a need for development, some need or no need for development in it. After this, there will be, the results will be shown and some self-reflective questions that they need to answer. Once we get to then Module 1, you start Module 1. Very important. I just want to, this is going to be a little bit quick for what I want to explain, so I just want to pause it quickly here. All right. So just to highlight how this can be customized ultimately for the different clients. Because of this project, the focus was on gold and platinum. So what we've done at the beginning of the program, the person needs to choose, are you in gold or in platinum? And then secondly, are you in a production department, engineering department, in the plant, or in a support services? Because we created this sample only for gold engineering, all of the examples, all of the characters, the positions, the cases, everything that we're going to talk to will be gold engineering related. So it will be Tabu is going to be the engineering foreman. In Module 2, Makwena is the engineering foreman, and Neshri will be the engineering manager. And all the situations and tips aspects, issues that they share will be related to this. Now, the idea is how you customize this further is if somebody ticked now platinum production, all of the characters will change and all the examples will change to a platinum environment, but a production example positions related, or gold support services, or platinum plant examples. So up front, the way that we can customize this is we create different storylines, and depending on the choice of the participant, everything else will be linked to what they need, are used to, will understand better to make the learning easier ultimately. So let's just play the video again so we can continue. As I said, there's a navigation part, and then the 7 modules. And once you click on the first one, it will show you the detail of what's covered within that first module. And then once we, oops, sorry, that was not what I wanted to do. I unfortunately clicked on my mouse. So once you've done with the introduction, the first section will start. We'll tell you what the learning objectives for that section is, and then you will start with the content. You will click next, next. But what you will also see is when there's an activity that needs to be done.
Welcome. You are a leader in the organization, and your position is key to our success. In this module, we will unpack the concept of leadership and help you to see your leadership role in a new light.
I think that was the only voice that we added just so that you could get a sense of Tabu and the voiceovers of the characters. Tabu facilitates the participant through this whole module. What to do, where to do things, also share some of his own experience, etc., things that worked, things that didn't work. And then even later on with between different characters where we do the conflict handling, you will see that between Mokoena and Tabu that they've got an issue with one another, and then initially come in and the manager and facilitate that process to manage the conflict. So we're using the characters, we're using ways to interactively click on things, click and drag, quizzes. So that's what I want to show you. I don't want to go through all of it now. There's another self-assessment that needs to be done. And everything that they type in and enter into their boxes, in the background, it collates all of this information that will make up the portfolio of evidence ultimately. They can print stuff. If they choose to print the page or something that they like, they can do that. So it's very interactive. I also want to get to a point where there's the sample of the quiz. So you click and drag. I don't know if the person that did the recording for this specifically tried to choose all the incorrect answers, but just want to highlight it wasn't me. So you click and drag all the answers in, and if you submit, most of the questions will then give you, if it's incorrect, it will give you also which ones you've got incorrect. And when you click on next, it will give you your overall score to say, okay, in this case, you scored 0. And then it will take you to the next section again, and you will start with section 3 in this case. So you continue through all of the sections, and ultimately at the end, let me jump a little bit forward again. I just want to get to this. There's a, for example, this part is on explaining mining modernization. What is modernization? The skills for the future. Why is it necessary for them? There's a self-assessment against some of this. When we get to the interactive activities, and then this part that I want to show, which is the branching scenario, I think is important. So it's a little video clip with actual choices where once you start, there's a scenario given, and then a person needs to make a choice, and depending on the choice, it will lead them to an outcome. So he chose option 2. Okay, and then we jump to another solution, and then if there's options, he chooses, and depending on the outcome, I think there's one part that shows the outcome of this one. And then great. So we're using branching scenarios also as part of the learning methodologies. And then the models, the explanation of it, and it goes on. I don't want to go through everything. The links will ultimately be on the Artemis portal, and then you can go and experience the modules. So I just want to scroll to the end of this, and then ultimately, congratulations. As I said, after today, I think module 1 will be available. By the end of this month, module 2 will be available, but those are the 2 modules that will be available on the platform. So just looking at the delivery options, as I mentioned, the first one is the self-paced learning option, which is roughly about 5 months. All of this can be customized for the specific mining client. But this is if it's placed on a portal where they can get it's linked on their system, their platform, or on the iWin platform from WinWin. The idea is that they will have roughly about a month to do the 7 modules at their own pace. And then the normal process is a requirement of an on-the-job project assignment where there's either learning, their own development needs, things that they need to go and focus on as part of their own development, as well as an on-the-job project assignment they need to complete throughout the 3 months. And then there's the assessment certification at the end. But on the platform, there is ongoing support and coaching from the facilitator, but we also involve the participants' direct line manager throughout this process, where they need to sign off things, they need to comment on things, they need to be involved throughout the process. Now, this first delivery option, what we've known, some of the key aspects from this. Firstly, the benefit is the learner can go through the content at their own pace. And if they need to review things again, they can go back and review it 3 times if they need to for themselves. For another learner, will go once through it. They can access the information anywhere, anytime. So being it on their phone, tablet, laptop, PC, depending on what is available within the environment, it can be accessible even offline, depending on how it's loaded on the technology being used at the mine. The learner can review the content multiple times should they not understand concepts, as I mentioned. But because of the link to the direct line manager, being able to view, observe, being part of the process, there's also opportunity for the direct line manager to get involved and ask a learner to comment or redo or explain some of the aspects. Sorry, just want to, there we go. Another benefit of the self-paced, because of the modules and the way that it's being used, it can also be used for refresher training, but not just necessarily for the participants. In this pilot process, we actually involved, because it was for engineering, we wanted engineering foremen. We also wanted people earmarked for engineering foremen, some artisans earmarked for foreman positions, but we also asked engineering managers to sit in. And even some of them said this was a good refresher for them. They learned something new, but mostly it was a refresher for them. So the same platform can also be used for refresher training, even on higher levels or for people in other departments. The content can be customized, not just to suit the learner's needs and create a good experience for them, but the company can add any other videos, documents, their own performance management system, clips into this library, into this program to create a cohesive program for supervisors based on that company's need. So it's not only this content, you can also customize it to add other content in that would be required for supervisors, and you can build it into the same process for learning. Then looking at how we suggest the blended approach, one of the options, although it can be done on a variety of different ways, but using the digital platform and solution, but within a blended approach. We see that the process is still the same, but now it might take about a month longer because you will take on average 7 weeks, for example, 1 module per week, but then you create 3 one-day classroom facilitated sessions where, for example, module 1 and 2 is done, then there's a 1 day. And then there's module 3, 4, 5, and 6 is done, then a 1 day. Module 7 is done in a 1 day, as an example. But again, with the blended approach, with the classroom, there's ongoing support, coaching from the facilitator as well as from the line manager being involved in the process. We've also suggested that in one of the 1-day sessions, the line manager will also be part in the afternoon, where there's certain commitments made, talking about challenges, what to stop to start doing, continue doing, for example. The blended approach, why are we promoting it? It's aligned to the 70-20-10, because by implementing a digital platform, accommodates an immersive experience, creates learner engagement, and it makes the communication better, trackability better. We know exactly where to pinpoint per individual learner, who's falling behind, who needs additional support. We use a variety of different ways on the job to bring it as part of this process. Actual cases, if there's safety videos about a situation that happened, you can build it into the training or the learning. If it's templates that they need to do, checklists, you bring it in. So the customization helps to bring the learning closer to their working environment. As a supervisor, the shift reports, the handover, changeover, documentation, whatever it is, you build it into the learning, and ultimately we're trying to digitize and make it easier. Less paperwork and easier for people to create and be able to use and implement, because that's where the impact is ultimately going to be. So just to highlight, I'm not going to go into the detail, but we've mentioned a couple of times, different a blend of different learning methodologies is important. It must be customized, not just to the environment, but for the level. Otherwise, the practice is not going to be there. And also for a company, they can add their own content. It must be integrated to their working environment, their world of work. So through direct line managers, peers, we can do 360, 180-degree surveys built into this on-the-job assignments that require them to participate and go and involve other people, activities, coaching. You need to coach a person and video record and submit this. So you can do all of these various different things to integrate it into their world of work where there's feedback, support, ultimately for it. Again, the trackability and the impact. Ensuring the impact is measured throughout the learning journey, but it gives us information, real-time information to know where we need to do things or where the company needs to put additional focus maybe on. If the whole group is lacking in a certain area where the facilitator, the organization needs to provide additional support. It also provides valuable information to the direct line managers. And then last, individual growth journey. So we are looking at the individual in terms of their own growth, self-reflective exercises, the commitments they need to make in terms of what they need to start doing, stop doing, continue doing. It can be easily aligned to their individual development plans. So they've got their own development goals, their journey that they need to embark on, and that is dovetailed with the normal content learning, the skill that we actually focus on as supervisors. So I think at the end, I just want to share with you some of the outcomes from what the pilot and the people said. And then I'm done and open to questions. The first thing was that it was quite interesting that out of both groups, pilot groups, traditional and blended digital learning, 100% of all the participants in the pilot stated that supervisory leadership is definitely necessary to prepare them for the future. So there is a need for it. But only 60% of them believe that the current supervisory leadership programs were actually effective. One of them actually said, I wasn't even aware that there was something available. So it means that almost half of the people say that our current offerings is not really that effective. 86% of the participants in the pilot program stated that it was easy or extremely easy for them to understand the concepts through the way and the experience of how the concepts were related. 100% of the participants rated the experience throughout the program as either good or excellent. 100% of the participants were likely to implement their learnings in the program. They didn't see any real stumbling blocks in taking the learning and going to apply it. And then 83% of participants that have attended the supervisory training in some way or form before stated that the Louis Allen program was much better than other programs they've attended before. And I'm from Louis Allen, so the idea is not, I'm not trying to just punt Louis Allen here, but I've been involved with developing customized supervisory, middle, senior management programs for the last 20 years. And Louis Allen's seen as this evergreen, it's the basic principles, concepts, and things that you need. Now, if you don't have a sound foundation, it's very difficult to put other concepts on top of that. So that's the system, the structure, that is the core. And my understanding from my own experience is, I think why in that second block, 60% or 40% of the people said that the current programs are not necessarily effective. My view is, in relation to the 83% comment, is that a lot of these supervisory don't focus on the foundation anymore. Those foundational concepts and principles are not there. So they don't have a sound foundation to build their management systems and management culture on within the organizations. And I think that's part that is lacking. The last one was just here that 100% classroom, the traditional classroom pilot program, people said there's value in the classroom, but they would like to see the more digitized solution and make some of the things easier for them. The digitized guys said, listen, this is excellent, the experience is great, but they lack the interaction with the facilitator, a coach, with their peer learning, and all of that is not there. So in the final result was that both groups stated that they recommend a blended learning approach, specifically in this case now for supervisory development, although the other work packages had exactly the same from their research. And then outcomes from not just the pilot, but what we've seen in other projects related to digitizing this type of development. You save on contact time, although it's not necessarily always this classroom time from 12 hours to 3 hours is a specific case in a mining company. In our case for supervisory training, in that case, it was about 25% that would be the reduction. But less time in class means more time in production. But there was a massive enhancement in the learning experience of participants by bringing in the traditional training into the 21st century, using immersive, interactive, digital content and experiences, learning methodologies, enhance the experience for learners. It increased the impact back into the working environments, not just taking learning back, but the impact of what they've learned on the working zones. And then enhanced measurement capability for the company, for the facilitators, and then the learning solution that are fully customized for their needs. The ability to customize it, I think the customization is one of the key things that we need to take away from this. It is not an off-the-shelf solution. The main content is there, but how you bring that content to life within your environment is where the customization benefit is. So if you're interested, this project was designed under the leadership of CSIR. Between Louis Allen and Win-Win International, we created this solution. And if you're interested to talk about customization opportunities or how to use this, by all means, be in contact with us. But that was my 50-minute presentation. Now we've got open for questions. So
thank you, Nico, for that
this.
comprehensive demonstration. I just want to reiterate that this is a SATCAP project, and the aim of the project is to demonstrate the art of possibility through supporting the development of these leadership development modules. So if you would like to go further than module 2, then you can select how you would like the modules to be customized, and even go to a service provider of your choice. As Nico mentioned, we're not trying to sell Louis Allen, but we're just basically showcasing the art of possibility when it comes to digital training solutions. Thank you.
That's it. Yes, exactly. And so I see here a question, Lee. Could you kindly explain what the industry gets in practice from this project? So on the items, as I said, there would be 2 of the modules, taken that it was customized now with Sibanye logo, etc. on, but it's for you to experience and understand how it's been customized, or how it can be customized, and how the technologies have been used, the different learning methodologies. But it is to showcase the art of possibility, as Maya now said. So that is the what will be provided by this project. We haven't done the rest, we've done module 3, and then we're going to start with module 4 to 7 in the development, which is no longer just part of this SATCAP project anymore, but it falls outside of the scope. But what we've done is we were tasked to do a module, but we decided to do 2 modules for the project. Ultimately 3 developed, but only 3 provided, just from an IP perspective and a content perspective from Louis Allen. But there would be some customization required, as well as licensing, etc., to use the Louis Allen content, should that be the desire. And that would be on a one-on-one discussion with organizations moving forward. But there's a variety of different options of how that can happen. I see you also talk here about to purchase the entire suite and all of that. We operate in a variety of different models with clients. So there's the trainer models, there's we do all the service provider. It all differs. If you wanted the self-based one, if you're looking for a blended approach, etc. That's why that type of discussion will go into the customization of what is actually required. This is just to showcase a sample. As mining companies, Shireen's comment or question, as mining companies already have the leadership development programs, the team has designed 3 modules, that's we go, which can be used. Okay, sorry, it's just a comment maybe on the question. So I didn't see the chat while I was presenting, so I'm just going through it quickly. And Sumaya also answered. Marius, you've got your hand raised. Marius, can you unmute and ask your question?
Okay, yeah. I thought I was unmuted. Thanks, Nico. Marius come from Harmony. Just in terms of the process that you followed, so you initially indicated that the program would be 5 months and 6 months blended. But in this instance, did you present the full program to Sibanye Stillwater, or was it no, was it only the first 2 modules?
So what we've basically done is we only presented to them on we did a 1-day pilot with them to take them through. So what we did is we started with module 1 and 2 traditional classroom, and we had the digital platform module 1 and 2 available for the other classroom. And we looked at the time and where did they get to the content in the traditional versus what they finished in the digital platform. The Louis Allen process, the development process that we use, and this is, I want to say, it is our preferred development journey, but it's also aligned to, if you ultimately want to accredit the program, then you're going to have to do it in line with this, because there needs to be additional coaching. There needs to be an on-the-job project with the project presentations and the assessment at the end. So the time frame is customizable depending on the client. If the client is not interested in CETA, they can do it in 1 month. You finish the 7 modules and you're done. Pick if that's the need. We've seen that if it's about impact, that not just in terms of the learning, but showcasing the impact of your learning in the workplace through on-the-job projects, activities, developmental activities that they need to perform within a certain period of time. We've done it most of the time. It's 12 weeks, 3 months, but we've done it as a year program for other companies that wanted to stagger it into not study school, to give people a longer period to work through the content. From an operational perspective, it can be customized and aligned in any way. That was just examples of the 2, but it can be customized. Sorry, Marius.
Thank you. If I could just follow up on that. So is Sibanye Stillwater carrying on with the program? And was it at Tinamo Gold Mine? Where did you pilot it?
In gold. It was done in gold. So no, it's not. It was done as an industry partner to test with them.
Okay.
So it's not sold to them. It's not their program that we're doing with them. Just from a clarity perspective, we just used them to show how it can be customized.
Okay. No, thanks. Understood. Understood.
All right.
We have just less than 2 minutes remaining for any further questions.
Any other questions or comments?
If there's anything further, please feel free to post it into the chat in the main session room.
Sure. All right. Then thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time and for participating in this breakaway session. I hope that it was enough. On the items that they will show a little bit later, where to get all the links, all the information will be there. You can go and explore it for yourself and see how it works. And but as I said, as far as I understand from when it would be, module 1 will be available from today, I think, on the system, on the link, and then by the end of the month, module 2 will also be available on the link. Thank you very much, and then enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending, everyone.